Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We are back here again with you this week. Last week we had discussed the issues of the screening test, the OIR and PPTT, and today we're going to have your questions on the interview techniques. Right? We'll be there for the next about an hour or so. So, any of you have any questions pertaining to the interview, any stage of the interview, the questions that are asked, how to respond, your PIQ, etc. We'll be discussing that.
This app not only has satellite cloud images can predict.
Etc. We'll be discussing that.
This app not only.
Yeah, so anybody would have any questions, you are most welcome to punch it in. I mean, I'll just start with the basics, the interviews in the SSB. Once you clear your screening test, interviews would be conducted on all days. There could be some interviews even after screening test, or after the psychological test, or after the GTO 1 or the GTO 2. You given a schedule, you get your chest numbers, kiski interview kab hai, and you know when is your interview. Fine. So that's the basic thing. Interview is an interaction that you have with an IO for about 40 minutes to an hour. He would have gone through your PIQ. He interacts with you to get to understand you about your journey of life, about your job if you're working, or your studies, your home environment, etc., along with certain aspects of maybe some general awareness, some question like that, some chit chat along those lines. Right? So that essentially is an interview. But what is important is to be able to answer well, to converse well. Good conversation skills are important for you to perform well in an interview without any stress, without any anxiety. Good expressions would be important, and give out your ideas clearly without hesitation. Right? And interview, the PIQ is important. Filling up the PIQ well is important. PIQ gives you a background detail, so good to write it well. Give complete information and avoid cuttings and overwritings, etc. in the PIQ. Right? A form which is hurriedly filled, which is incomplete, or got cuttings and overwritings, the first impression gives the idea of carelessness on your part. So which can be avoided. It's a simple form, it's self-explanatory, but good to write it well. And whatever you've written, you could be asked questions on that, so be able to answer questions. So awareness of whatever you've written would be useful. Fine. Awareness of whatever you've done. Suppose you played a game, he could ask you questions about the game in terms of since when have you been playing, where all have you played, what all level have you played. Could be how is the game played, the rules of the game, or how do you organize a game, maybe your favorite player, such like questions will give him some idea that you have participated and you have some idea also. Right? More than idea is about your passion in that activity. If you're passionate, your knowledge would be better. If you're peripheral, you'll only be roundabout. Right? So it's good to know the thing well when you go to interview, so they can answer well. See, the interview, I'll just go through the whole process as it starts till the time it finishes, and at any stage you have a question, you could ask. You would be in a waiting room and you called one by one to the IO's room, and when your turn comes, naturally a bell is sounded and you have to come in. When you have to go in, it's good to not to rush, because when you rush immediately, you may feel a little bit more nervous. So best thing is to be comfortable, get up, take a long deep breath, and walk comfortably to the IO's room. the door is generally closed. It's good to take permission. When you come in, wish him properly. Wish him with some kind of some warmth. There could be, see, the how you speak is important, right? So there should be some pleasantness, some warmth. You connect with him and wish him. It makes a good impression, rather than just saying good morning, good afternoon, without looking at him or feeling shy or feeling hesitant. So good to have that energy in you when you speak. He'll ask you to sit down. When you come and sit down, take your chair and sit upright. Be comfortable, sit upright, connect with him. As you settle down, the interview starts with rapport building question. Question like, where do you come from, or how's the journey? Aim is to detense you. Aim is to make you feel comfortable. Right? So good to talk well. He may ask you some questions about your place, so you obviously should have some idea to talk about that place, so that even if a person is not seen, that he can kind of have an idea. Right? So good to give 4 or 5 important aspects of the place. Maybe it's known for some tourist kind of attraction. Maybe there's a historical link to that. So, or it's known for something. So good to introduce a place in that way. And then he starts with interacting with you on other aspects that he needs to know from you. So the first being your job. Now, before I start, I would like you to understand the way the questions are asked. Right? These interviews, which you call evaluation interviews, they're designed to understand you as a person. Right? Personal interviews. So questions in these interviews are comprehensive in nature. A comprehensive question may comprise of 6, 7 or 8 small questions, which you have to listen and answer in your own way. Right? And then he asks you some more questions on what you use. So what is important is to listen carefully and answer in your own way. He may have asked you about 7, 8 or 9 questions. You may not be able to remember all. But if you listen carefully, you will be able to answer at least 6, 7 of them, or 60%, 70% of them, which is fairly okay. Right? A lot of times candidates are not able to speak. They start with something, and after 1 or 2 things they get little blanked out. Why does it happen? Very often it's because of anxiety. So anxiety is always is never useful, but it only takes you back. So learn to get over with it. Learn to get over with the anxieties. Be more conscious. Tell yourself I can do it, and speak pleasantly and politely. Fine. Then about a comprehensive question, how to answer. Fine. One is you may miss 1 or 2, done better. He'll ask you some more questions. Second is in terms of time of answering. When I ask a question, those 6, 7, 8 comprehensive parts of comprehensive question, it may take me nearly a minute. And when you answer them, you have to answer all of them in a sequence. So it may take you 6 to 8 minutes, whereby you are briefly explaining everything that you've done in some details. Right? So that is an important part. How much to speak and how to speak. Right? Some people speak too much, they speak too long, they go into a storytelling form, they start beating around the bush. Obviously that's not good. It's good to be a little bit more crisp and specific and include all important details of what you're talking about. Some people are a little too brief in the answer. Right? Too brief means when I ask a question, maybe it takes me a minute, the response also comes in about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so that is a little short. So whatever you are covering, do give essential details in terms of what have you done, why did you do it, how did it happen, some great learnings, some maybe appreciation that you got, or what you felt about it. A few things would be important rather than just being very crisp about what you say. Fine. So speaking appropriately, the desired length will be not too much, not too less, and also your expression would be important. A lot of times candidates, when they speak, they are more or less blank in the expressions. tone is very monotonous. They have blank looks on their face. In a way, they're a little poker-like, a little stressed in the mind, and therefore they put on a poker kind of face. That's not good. It's very important for you to express yourself well. Good eye contact, highlighting a few things, maybe modulating your voice a little bit more, taking a pause a little bit, and explaining things well. So that's a good way of speaking, and therefore it's very important to learn good conversational skills. You should be able to speak well. It's not कि भी बोल ही दिया जो बोलना था, but कैसे बोला is important. A lot of value arises on the way of your speaking. Your body language speaks a lot. Obviously, if you are nervous with it, you'll not be able to speak well. Your body language will show. The eyes and the eyes will show. And if you're comfortable, confident, again your face shows that one. So being in control with yourself, being comfortable with yourself, and speaking well would be important. Fine. Then see, the comprehensive question allows me to get more information from you, which is good. But what do I do with that information? Right? The IO would now further examine that, go to details of that, check out what you say, and therefore there could be questions on what, why, and how. Now there's a question from Lakshman Singh in TGC entry. What's the level of the interview, and is it more technical or similar for all other entries? Lakshman, the interview is generally very standard format, a personal interview. It'll follow the same, but obviously it'll go into some details of your awareness in your subject. So it's not a technical interview as such. It's a personal interview, but added to that there will be some technical questions which could pertain to the domain knowledge of your studies. Fine. It could be not very theoretical in nature, but something which is in the domain of what is happening now, latest trends in it, how is the industry incorporating things which are changing and which are affecting the work domain. So such questions could certainly be there. Right? Navjot, is there any probability of a weak student in studies of cracking SAB? Navjot, see, weak student means your marks have not been very good. See, marks is one aspect of your personality. The studies you done, obviously you qualified somewhere. You qualified a competitive examination or for the NTA, CDS, or you done your engineering at a particular level that you qualified to apply for this thing. So all people who are being called, they have attained a level in their academics. That's one. The interview is more about your personality, fine. And therefore your presence of mind, your confidence, your general awareness, stress handling ability, all those things would play an important part rather than seeing a weak student or a strong student. The number of students which I have seen who are very bright as such, they scored 90% above in their 9th, 10th and 12th, and maybe in the college they have done well, about 80% in the engineering. But what happens when they're speaking, they get stressed out, they feel very confident, and obviously they don't come down. They come down, but they won't have a place. On the contrary, there are people who are average in their studies. They also participative, group activities, teamwork, games, other activities. Their interpersonal skills are good, and they have a better presence of mind. The stress handling capability is better. They don't come under pressure very easily. They can come up. Fine. So academics is one parameter, and not necessarily only parameter. Overall, your personality is important. Fine. Any more questions? I look forward to that. So in the meantime, I'll proceed with the process of the interview that is talking. Fine. I told you about the comprehensive question. The comprehensive question would be comprising of 7-8 small questions about any one area of your personality. Could be about your work, could be about your education, could be about your home life. So you अपने सुनना है और अपने हिसाब से बताना है. Fine. A typical comprehensive question, like for a person who is studying, student could be, the IO may ask you, where all have you studied, what kind of schools or colleges, what was the atmosphere there, what kind of subjects were you fond of, what are the marks you used to score, what is the system of studies you followed, and in addition to studies, what other activities like games and co-curricular, what all was there, what all have you achieved, achievements in that, and also could be to talk about your teachers that you're fond of, teachers that you're not very fond of, your friend circle, who are close to you, why they're close to you, your monthly expenditure, etc. Kitna kharcha hota hai, pocket money or otherwise, and things like that. So those could be 7-8 questions about your education. So that's one comprehensive question. So आपने सुनना है, अपने हिसाब से बताना है, fine. So now, see, a comprehensive question allows me to draw more information from you. What do you do with that information? Right? The IO would now have to check out what you say, verify what you say. And therefore, there could be connected questions which you call probing questions. Probing questions, what are they? Go into details of what you've done and how you've done. Fine. So probing questions essentially get me closer to the way you think, to your reasoning, to your logic. Probing questions also get me closer to your attitudes. Eventually, to know you, I must understand you, your reasoning, your logic, your attitude. That's only you don't know that. So that is the purpose of the probing questions. So probing questions would invariably accompany your responses. And as you respond to a comprehensive question, he starts checking out in between. If you're talking about studies, he may just check out why did you take science, or why you taken commerce, why you taken humanities, right? So you have your own choices. People choose because they like a subject. People choose because they have a career option with them. Sometimes people choose it just because they're okay with studies, they're okay with all subjects, they have no very particular likes or dislike, and their friends are doing it, so they also do it. So some people are like that. Also 10 में से एक दो ऐसे होते हैं जो अपने मर्जी से मस्ती से भी कर लेते हैं. Masti is a good thing in life, but not necessarily always. When you're making a choice of the subjects are important decision to make, which are leading to a career choice or something that could have been lawyer, and therefore being casual about that doesn't speak very well. So that would show a little bit of immaturity on the part of the candidate. So good always to cite a good reason why you've done whatever you've done, fine. Because there are other issues emerging. Sometimes people choose subjects because they are advised. Parents advise them, or somebody else who's close to them, or a teacher advises, okay, tu beta ye kar le, ya tu ye kar le, I want to do that, fine. So sometimes the candidates or children choose subjects because they have somebody's advice, not necessarily their own choice. That also affects, that brings up interesting inputs for the candidate. It's not that his fault. It is not his fault that he had to choose a subject. He was told to do that. But what did he do after that? Remember, decision making is an important part in life, especially important decisions, which sometimes we don't take ourselves, sometimes we consult others, sometimes others tell us to do something. But remember, once we've chosen to do something, there's an outcome of that. And who's going to bear the outcome? I have to do that. If I have chosen to do something, I have to bear the outcome. So therefore, I have to be prepared to shoulder responsibility for that, to face the outcomes of that, which doesn't always happen. A lot of times when children choose a subject which is forced upon them and they can't do well, they end up blaming. It's not my fault, I was told to do that, I didn't want to do that. So therefore, that's a very simple kind of a response they gave. It is understandable, but somewhere, what does it show? It shows that the boy, does not have the right sense of responsibility. He's not taking ownership of the decision. Once you've taken a decision, whether it's your own choice or somebody else, the outcome has to be faced by you. And if that is the case, you must learn to take responsibilities for the decisions. You can't keep blaming others in life. People who are sincere, children who are sincere, they work. They don't give up so easily. They work and they'll try their best. They may not get very good marks, but they still get good marks, not bad. But people who don't have the sense of responsibility, they somehow always in the blame game. I didn't want to do it, I was told to do it, so I've been forced to do it. What's my fault? It's not my fault. So they are always in a blame game, so which doesn't speak very well of their kind of a sense of responsibility. Remember, life is an important part. Life is something which we always live together in a society, and therefore we do consult others. It's good to consult others where we are not very clear. But once we are taken a decision, we can't blame others for the decision. It's our decision after that. So taking ownership is a very, very important part of decision making, which somehow gives very varied inputs about candidates when we speak. So that's how he is using to. This is what is called probing. Probing is checking out from you what, why, and trying to understand you as a person. Right? So that's how the kind of probing will proceed. Probing could also see like the question could be about talking of your teachers that you liked or teachers that you don't like. Right? That's a simple question. Everybody's got likes and dislikes. Right? So very often people would call, okay, I was fond of this teacher or that, or didn't like this teacher, etc. That is all right at some level, but it's not a great way to speak about teachers. Not that everybody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. Everybody's got shortcomings. Everybody's got strong points. But good to be a little bit more magnanimous when you're speaking of the teachers. Eventually, they're the ones who taught you. So a better way would be to talk a little bit more gracefully. If you talk of, yes, we're lucky to have good teachers. I was more fond of mathematics teacher or English teacher than chemistry would be better than. I liked math teacher, I didn't like chemistry teacher. No, that's not a good way to speak. Remember, nobody is perfect, and every organization, every school, college, every will have different kind of teachers, right? So therefore, it's not good to be sounding critical. Lakshman has a question. If asked Q's, how do I answer on why couldn't I clear my previous SSB? What improvement have I made? Yeah, very often when he's talking to you about your previous attempt, because he's gone through the PIQ, he's seen that you've been not recommended earlier or screened out earlier, so he may ask you what happened last time. Obviously, nobody or no SSB tells you at the end of the board process what is your results other than recommended or not recommended, right? Nobody tells you कि psych में ऐसा क्या था, GTO में क्या किया, कैसे किया, कोई rating वेटिंग कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं पता, nobody knows, but you have a sense of yourself. You have done everything, you've done psych, you've done GTO, सभी आपने करा है ना, तो आपको आइडिया होता है. Still a better way to respond would be to say, sir, I did give you my best. I was very hopeful. I'm sure when you did your SSB last time, you must have done your best, haven't you? So do say I did my best, do say I was hopeful, but maybe you may not have done very well in the psychological test, maybe you may not have done very well in the interview, maybe like GTO. So a better way would be कि I did my best, I was hopeful. हो सकता है साइक में कुछ कमी रही हो सकता है GTO में कुछ कमी रही हो. That is a better way to answer. And then you tell me उसमें क्या हुआ, साइक में क्या हुआ, then you can say yes, perhaps the stories could have been better, or my responses I could not complete them on time, something like that. Maybe GTO में क्या हुआ, maybe the group was a little noisy, I could not participate well, right? Or interview में awareness was not very good, I was not very sure of what I was speaking, right? Whatever. See, now you have to introspect yourself and give your own way, but a better way would be to sound good. And sound good would be, yes, I did my best, I was hopeful, I thought I would make it, but not made it. Maybe I could not do very well in maybe psychological test or the GTO or the. That is a better way to answer. What improvements have you made? So improvements would be, now you have to introspect and work on yourself, right? And how do you work on yourself? You improve your awareness levels, you improve your interpersonal skills, your confidence levels, speaking skills, knowledge, etc. You improve your knowledge, right? Also, you could do some always more creative writing. Pick up any picture and write some stories from that, one or two stories, see if the story is making sense. Is it giving fairly good action? Fine. So that is how creative writing can help you. General awareness can help you. Fine. So that's how you should actually work on yourself. Fine. Now there is another question. Tectonic. So how do I improve communication skills? Now communication is very important part amongst all living beings, all human beings. We all have to express ourselves through some language, right? So knowledge of language is important, usage of language is important. The SSB interviews, etc., are generally in English, but nobody minds you speaking English and Hindi. speak English, and where you're getting stuck, use some Hindi and come back. See, क्या होता है कि when you talking of communication skills, very often candidates only fixed about English speaking. It's not that. See, what are we looking at when you're talking of your ideas, clarity of the ideas. So clarity of the ideas comes with the clear mind. Clarity of ideas doesn't come with a stressed mind. Clarity of ideas does not come with a confused mind. Right? That's the clarity of ideas. Okay, then the quality of ideas, awareness levels, that also comes with your efforts on observing things, noticing things, awareness levels, and so that is an important. And then confidence in yourself, faith in yourself that I can do that. Fine. Language. Remember, what we speak is only 10% of all that you are saying or doing. 10% is the language. Grammar, language, English, Hindi, fine. 60% is your body language. See, what is it? Body language is how you feel about yourself. And how do you feel yourself when you're not aware? You're not feel very good. You don't feel very confident, fine. Your self-esteem. All those things are important part which are of your internal self-talk. If that is good and clear, your words will automatically be clear. If the mind is confused, you have doubts in your mind, you have hesitation somewhere in the mind, you will never be clear. Right? That is the larger idea. Now he also says, how do I introspect yourself? Good that you have asked this introspection. I'm sure you all do introspection sometime or the else. Introspection. What is introspection? It is just looking within your own self. And why do we do it? To see what am I doing, how am I doing, where do I improve, what is the direction, किस दिशा में जा रहा हूँ, क्या करना है मुझे. So introspection is very important part of our day-to-day living, of our daily routine. A lot of people do it. I'm sure almost everybody does it from time to time. जब कुछ गड़बड़ होती है तो सोचते हैं यार क्या हो रहा है, क्या हुआ, क्या नहीं किया, ठीक करना है, ये करना है. So most of the people start introspecting when something goes wrong. I won't think that's a great idea. Yes, something goes wrong. It's important to sit down and introspect and analyze that until. Beyond that, your self-personality requires regular introspection, perhaps on a day-to-day basis. Generally, at the end of the day, when you finish with your day's work, that means you finish your studies or you finish with your social media or watching TV, whatever you're doing, it's time for you to go to sleep. It's not good to go to sleep just like while watching something or doing something. It's good to switch it off and give yourself at least 10 minutes to 20 minutes to sit back and introspect. What do you do when you introspect? You look at your own self from maybe above. That means you observe yourself as this entity, this body, your name, Rakesh, आज का दिन कैसा था, क्या क्या किया. One is that you look at the routine or whatever you have done in the day and correlate with what is it that you wanted to do. Obviously you must have had a plan for the day. जो plan करा था वो करा नहीं करा, कर पाए नहीं कर पाए, because whatever you plan is very difficult to follow it every day. There will be always some thing which comes in between, some disturbance, and therefore it's good to analyze that. There's one small part of introspection. There's a smaller part of the introspection. This is a bigger part. When you introspect, you look at the experiences of the day. आज का दिन कैसा बीता. अच्छा था. कई बहुत बोलते हैं आज तो बड़ा अच्छा दिन बीता, आज तो अच्छा नहीं लगा, पता नहीं किसका मुंह देखा था. So remember, your life experiences are an important part of yourself and it's good to introspect them also. Some experiences that you had in the day may have been good. You may have liked. Somebody may have appreciated you. Good to look at it again, look at it properly, dispassionately, and good to feel good about it, and also see how can I maintain that, maybe how can I improve that. So that allows you to work on yourself to improve your performance next time, so that next time you feel even better than that. A lot of things, maybe sometimes some things happen in the day which are not pretty pleasant. You could not achieve what you had to achieve. You got maybe reprimanded by somebody किसी ने डांट दिया, किसी ने चुगली कर दी, किसी ने कुछ गलत कर दिया. Fine. Those are not good experiences. You don't feel very good about it. And a lot of times people will just about sulk with it and sleep. Not a good idea. It's good to introspect that also dispassionately. कि हुआ क्या था, क्यों ऐसा हुआ, कैसे किया फाइन. तो कई बार होता है कि व्हेन यू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट यू अंडरस्टैंड के परहैप्स यू योरसेल्फ डिडंट टेक द फर्स्ट राइट स्टेप और यू डिडंट डू द राइट प्रिपरेशन. मे बी that could be the reason. Then you correct yourself. Sometimes you find somebody else has done something wrong to you. You have no bad intentions, you doing your thing right, but somebody आके बीच में गड़बड़ कर दी, किसने कुछ अपसेट कर दिया, कुछ so something he said it did which made you feel bad, right? So good to introspect that. That time perhaps you could not do anything, maybe you did react or you reacted badly, you felt bad, you felt angered. But now that you're doing an introspection dispassionately, then it's important for you to decide कि यार I need to talk to him, I need to explain to him. So with a cool mind at a different stage, it's good to talk to him or her, explain your viewpoint, explain what had happened, and explain you didn't mean like this or that one. So and also tell him when he did that, he said that it hurt you, you felt bad. Good to say that, right? So you realize very often he say, don't worry, I didn't mind it, I didn't want to say that, I don't mind that. So something like that would come, right? So good to resolve those things, and so allows you to be comfortable, so you can handle these things better next time. So introspection helps you to see where you stand. Introspection helps you to work on your improvements. So there's always a to-do list after that. That is what you should incorporate in your next day's planning or next week's planning, so that you can carry on things slowly improving yourself. See, it's a life, and improvement is a lifelong process. It doesn't finish when you finish your primary school or high school or a college. They're all stages of development, right? Similarly, life is also a journey which requires regular introspection and correction and improvement, so that you become a better person, right? So that's about introspection, and we're talking of coming back to what I was talking of, or the responses to your comprehensive questions and the probing, etc. See, you're talking about like teachers. Teachers would be good and not so good. So better to be little sensible when you talk. Talk of generally, we were lucky to have good teachers. I was more fond of maybe chemistry or mathematics than the other one. Rather than saying I didn't like this teacher, it's a better way to be a little bit more open. Right? Even if he tells you something you don't like in your best teacher, right? Or in your best friend, right? You have to answer, or something you don't like in your parent. So you can't say I don't want to tell you anything like that, or you can't say he's very good, I don't want to tell you anything wrong about him. Obviously, you can't say those kinds of things. You have to talk something. No, not good to be so talking. Okay, I don't like this habit of his or that habit of his. It's not a good way to talk. Even if you talk about your best friend or your favorite teacher or even parent, तो अगर उसका बताना ही है, he asks you कि भाई इसमें क्या चीज़ अच्छी नहीं लगती, what is it that you don't like in him, a better way would be to start with what is it that you like in him. Maybe a person is very compassionate by nature, maybe a person is very helpful by nature, person is very professional in his knowledge, he's good, very good, right? That's good part of him. And what is it that you don't like? Don't say I don't like. You can always cover it up, but if he's a little bit more careful about his language, if he's a little bit more patient with students, it'll be good for us, good for him. Is a better way of saying that he is an angry kind of person. It's better than saying he's very rude to us, right? So it's not a good way to talk. He is what he is. Now how you talk about him is your way of speaking. When he asks you these questions, is he interested in your teacher, or is he interested in your friends or your parents? No, he is interested in you. And आप पे क्या देख रहा है? How do you talk of them? And good to say he is very hard-working person. He is very compassionate, very loving, very caring. All that, whatever is good, बोलो. कुछ गलत नहीं बोलना है. जो अच्छा, कुछ तो अच्छा होगा ना उसमें. और किस चीज़ का, जो चीज़ जो ज़्यादा अच्छी नहीं बोलो, उस पर थोड़ा ख्याल करें तो ज़्यादा अच्छा होगा. तो दैट्स अ बेटर वे ऑफ आंसरिंग, बिकॉज यू when he's talking to you about all this, what is he looking at? He's looking at you as a person. He's looking at your, these are also smaller aspects of your attitudes, how you talk of others, fine. Yeah, I have another question from Edge Singh. I got conference out in TS plus 2, how to prepare for CDS after graduation and what SSB SSS expect from. Now, see, I can't get your name, you were Edge Singh. See, if you got or you screened out a conference out in the TS, that means you got screened it, and therefore you've gone through the whole process of the interview, the GTO, the psych test. All that I'm sure would have been good learning for you. First thing, participating in that is a good learning. You come up as a better person once you go through this, because all those things you've done for the first time and you're doing for the group, and that allows you better understanding of your own self. That's one. So I'm sure you would have done some introspection of yourself at that time, and then of course you've gone and gone through for your graduation or whatever you've done. Now you've done a graduation plus whatever you're going. So I'm sure you would have been better person from that learning point of view. Yes. Now your question is, what are they expecting from you? So the process of interview is the same psychological test, same GTO, same interview. What is it? They are looking at your personality. Now, what is the new input on your personality? Yes, new input is that you came after your 12th for the TES and you went to the SSB, you were conference out. So that was an additional learning from you. And having kept that in mind, have you tried to improve yourself? Have you improved your interpersonal skills? Have you improved your awareness levels? Can you express yourself better, both written and verbal? So how have you improved yourself? That would be an important part of what they expect. Otherwise, the interview is exactly the same. The process is the same thing. But yes, he's got because he knows that you after 12th you went for TS. He'll talk about that experience, what happened at TS, kaisa kiya, kyun nahi kiya, what he'll ask you about that. So with that as an additional input, however is he's looking at the same set of parameters in your personality, they're no different, fine. So yes, the last 3 years in graduation would have given you better knowledge, better awareness of what's happening in the world, better awareness of the general awareness. You would have taken part in some more activities in the college. All that would have made you a better person. So your experiences doing that is important. So participation in activities in the college, your studies, all that would be discussed, and to see how did you perform. Okay, fine. I hope you okay. If anything you can ask. Now coming to back to the process of interview, which I was talking. See, along with the probing questions, at some stage the IO may give you a situation to handle, right? To organize something, organize a game, organize a trip, organize a event in the school or college, like a fresher night, maybe a tree plantation or a blood donation. Such kind situations could be there. What is the purpose of this situation handling? Is to put you into a slightly unfamiliar ground, to make you do what you've not done. And therefore there is a little bit of an ambient pressure on the mind, and that he's saying how organized are your thoughts, the tarteeb of doing things, the order of doing things, and the awareness of how that is to be done. Kaise karoge, fine. So all that is what is important. Reasonable inputs are okay, but whatever you reply, he sometimes adds some more difficulties. He adds some more difficulties to see how you perform in little bit more pressure, fine. So see, one of the things that he's checking out in you is your stress vulnerability, and therefore putting you in some stressful situation at a time would be not out of place, fine. To respond well, what does it require? It requires an open mind, maybe presence of mind, and some kind of a hazard jawabi, presence of mind and some quick response, rather than stressing too much or not knowing what to do or said I've never done this earlier. No, those responses obviously show a person who is stressful, who doesn't have confidence in himself. Some workable answer would be important, right? So good to be able to give some good answer, something which is workable, fine. Don't give up, sir. ये नहीं होगा तो मुझे नहीं पता क्या है, or I'll ask my teacher, or I'll ask my parents. So that doesn't show you very well. That doesn't show a great of confidence, your confidence in your own self. Right? So your ability to handle things at your level would be important, fine. Then along with that, at some stage, your home background would be discussed as to who all are there at home, what are they doing, parents, siblings, etc., your daily routine. Fine. So that's also an important part of the questions to know you. So one important aspect is to understand you, your family, and your one can say घर का माहौल. Fine. So if you are loving and caring family, so there'll be obviously you'll be helping out your parents or siblings in some issues or the else, and vice versa. How do they take care of you or your needs, and what do you do? So a little bit of that thing is important. Now, whether you're more fond of your father or your mother, or maybe you discuss your problems more easily with your father or mother or a sibling, is a personal choice. But from that also at times he looks at certain inputs with that. Right? Maybe father is too busy, and therefore you speak more with your mother. Understandable. But at times when you find he's my father is a little strict kind of a thing, and therefore he doesn't talk much, and therefore I talk to my mother. So somewhere it also shows that you, as you grow up, maybe for a class 2 student may be different for a graduate who's 24 years or so. By now you need to handle and face your parents as an adult. Explain your viewpoint with confidence and conviction, rather than क्योंकि वो गुस्सा करते हैं मैंने बात नहीं करनी. Right? So that becomes then at where you avoid one parent or the other just because temperamentally like that. Okay, everybody has his own nature. But as you start growing up, especially after your teenage, you start getting to 23, 24 years, it's important for you to realize now you also grown up adult, and you're able to handle the parents as an adult, not to fight with them, but to convincingly put across your viewpoint, discuss things with confidence, and eventually go with whatever is the final decision when your parents are got a superior position in the family, and whatever they desire is good to be honored. But your effort in putting across your points would be important for me to understand. That means you're growing up. That means you are confident of it. That means you have the confidence of handling your parents who may be difficult. But that kind of issue would be important for me to understand as an IO. So questioning around that would be there to understand your adjustment in the family. Fine? And then your daily routine would be important. What is it that you do from the time you get up in the morning till the time you sleep? What is the importance of routine? Because everybody has routine, especially somebody who's working or studying. So you have your daily college routine or school routine. You have some household responsibilities. You have to travel. You have to do some household work. Right? You have to do your homework. You have to do your submissions. You have to do examinations. Right? And that takes away nearly 70%, 80% of the times. So a lot of people are contented with that only. वही होता है, वही मसा पूरा हो जाए, बहुत होता है. So they live with that. But there are people who are more inspired by nature, who people motivated in nature, who got better self-discipline. They do plan a few more things, few more additional things, which are integrated into the daily routine. They follow it. Fine. They follow it. क्या होता है कि रूटीन मेकिंग इज़ नॉट डिफिकल्ट. वन कैन ऑलवेज प्लान कि ये भी करना, वो भी करना, ये भी करना. फाइन, यू कैन डू दैट, बट फॉलोइंग इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज एज यू गेट इन द ग्राइंड ऑफ द लाइफ यू हैव योर स्कूल, कॉलेज, होमवर्क, सबमिशन, ये काम, वो काम, यू नो. सो वो चीज़ें पीछे रह जाती हैं. किसके लिए रहती हैं? पीपल हु आर नॉट वेरी मोटिवेटेड, पीपल हु हैव डोंट वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग विल पावर, पीपल हु गॉट बेटर सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन, better willpower. They don't leave these things behind. They will find time to do that. That is the difference. Fine. Everybody narrates their routine. I get up in the morning, go for a run, I do this, I read newspapers. No, everybody talks of his own routine. He listens to you, but he will question to see, are you really doing it? Are you motivated? Or you just about doing it? कभी SSB आ गई है तो एक महीना पहले, 2 महीने पहले शुरू कर देंगे. So everybody start reading newspaper 2 months before the SSB. Everybody start going for a run or some cycling or yoga or gymming. You know, as a preparation for the SSB. Remember, that is not good. You're not doing it for the SSB. Things that you do in your life, they are for your own lifetime goals. They are for your own growth, and therefore it's good to do it for your own growth. And to do that, a little bit extra motivation self-discipline are important thing. What are these additional things? Maybe some time for your workout, maybe some creative hobbies and interests, something that you enjoy to do, may not be always, but some time for that. A little bit of reading habits, where you read some newspaper, magazine, or a light magazine, or some kind of books. Good to add those, the value addition to your life. Reading is a very good habit. Yes, of course, these days you have social media and chats are there, and maybe videos are there. They take away a lot of your time. In fact, that is one of the challenges of managing time today. How do you manage your social media? Because your generation has grown up with it, right? And therefore it is very much integral part of it, and one can't wish away with it. But a lot of people waste a lot of time. If you analyze your data usage in your phone every day, you realize you're using 4 hours, 6 hours, and where did it go? Most of it is social media, chat, this and chat, which is not good. Right? Maybe productive, useful reading, some good maybe news items or things of interest to you, or some awareness levels, right, is okay. Some time for social interaction, very, very important. But a lot of time, a lot of things which when you analyze, you can discard it. It's very, very important to discard the non-productive things in your routine and substitute something more productive in that, which is going to be useful for you. Awareness levels, fitness levels, playing, interacting with people, learning new things, right? Those are very, very important things. Routine mein fitness, I would like to expand fitness. When we talk of fitness, very often people say I go for a run, I do cycling, I do this. So fitness is little bit more than that. It's not only physical body, your entity is your body, mind and soul. So being comfortable about your mental health, when I say mental health, that basically what it means is we tend to get worried too easily, we tend to get stressed too easily, and we accumulate that as we grow. Remember that. And unless you learn how to release that, to discharge these worries, tensions, emotional kind of a clutter, your mind will never be healthy. Fine. So very, very important to work, because today we are in a age where too many things are happening, too much of information, too many activities, too many expectations, too much of competition, right? And therefore very often the mind gets cluttered, worried, and start getting into frustration, depressions. Not so uncommon. Very small children also get depressed these days. So very, very important to learn to handle your mind, to declutter the mind, to handle your emotional upsets, to resolve them, to talk them, to neutralize them. Fine. Very, very important to handle those things, because that is an important part of your fitness. Right? And the third part is your spiritual being. So good to spend some time with your own self, prayers, meditation, that feeling of gratitude. Right? So that would be a total package in fitness. Right? Fitness doesn't only mean running around and jogging and gymming. They are good things, but they cannot benefit you if the mind is stressed. So mind needs to be handled, mind has to be resolved, it has to be comfortable. You to declutter it, you to de-stress it, right? So that requires active intervention. Otherwise, you'll eventually end up being a wreck, and you'll run to a counselor to help you to do that. Right? So that stage should never come. So routine would be all those things. General awareness is important. He generally asks of your reading habits and newspapers, TV में क्या देखते हो, and some questions on what is happening around would follow. So it's good to be aware. Good to be aware of things are happening. Good to be reading newspapers or see TV के अंदर you need to see what, because a lot of TV news gives you a lot of noise. Avoid that. You should know which are the right channels to watch, especially the one in the social media. A lot of good well-meaning podcasts are where experts speak on issues are good. What is important is to understand what is important for us as a country, what is happening in the country. Now, whether it is the economy or the security or the social issues or the political issues, broadly understanding of that is important. India's neighbors are very important, and a lot of happening places, and not so pleasant, not so. They all places of unrest, whether it's Pakistan or China or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Maldives, and they all Nepal, they all happening places. They're not the best of places in terms of relations, and therefore understanding our issues with them and how we going with them is important. And then global issues, whether the Middle East or the war. Wars which are taking place when the Israel conflict with the Palestinians or the Russia, our station, our positioning of India in the global geopolitical space, where we have to, or we taken the position of strategic autonomy. What does strategic autonomy mean in today's world, and what does it mean for India? What does it mean for US? What does it mean for India? What does it mean for Russia? Fine, and China, which is the major factor right now. So understanding those issues are important. Iran is a very evolving country. We have strong old ties, but we have also issues handling Iran. Understanding that is important. So general awareness is awareness about things. Good to be aware. He'll ask you questions which are progressive. He'll ask you one question, you give an answer, he asks you one more question. You give an answer, he asks you, see, kya hota hai? He goes into the depth of your awareness of what is being talked. Don't get blank. Give some information. You may not know everything. Nobody knows everything. We don't expect you to also. But reasonable information, 20%, 30%, 40%, क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, बैकग्राउंड क्या है, उतना तो पता होना चाहिए ना. पूरा डाटा शायद नहीं हो, पूरा अपडेट शायद नहीं हो, बट अंडरस्टैंडिंग, हैविंग अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द इश्यूज is an important part, right? So that's what's the important thing. Good to work on it, and then towards the end he comes to the closing of the interview. Here talks you about your, asks you about your strong qualities that what you want to improve on. So good upon self-awareness is important because he's seen you through the interview. So talk of one or two good things that you have, which obviously he should have seen somewhere, and one or two areas which you want to improve in yourself. Improve in yourself in your personality. Right? There should be more about your personality. Maybe issues that you face in your personality. There's one general awareness, language. They are also important, but they are a little peripheral. More about in your own self. क्या improve करना चाहते हो? Good introspection will allow you to understand that better. And then of course, why do you want to join the army? Which branch you want? Larger idea to see your motivation. Are you motivated enough or no? Right? So such like questions could be there. So awareness about the service that you want to join, Army, Navy, Air Force, knowledge about that, knowledge of the way it is organized, knowledge of the weapon systems, knowledge of various roles, knowledge of where would you like to be there, you know? So that would be good idea to catch on with them. We have a blog which you can all read on the website. It's called, the website I hope you all know is www.olivegreens.co.in. The blog is titled Role, Capabilities and Modernization Plan of the Armed Forces. Fine. So good to read that. That gives you fairly good information about the Army, about the Navy, about the Air Force, how they organized, what changes are happening, what are the weapon systems, etc. That gives you good basic information at one place. Good to update with yourself and then add whatever information that you can add to that. Fine. Okay, fine. With that, we have finished and we generally coming to the end of the time. And if there are any more questions, I would take on then. Otherwise, next week we'll meet again on Friday at 12:30. Next week we'll be taking up the issues on the psychological test, TAT, WAT, SRT, self-description, etc. That will be next week. Right? So any your questions you can hold it and meet us next week for the discussion. In the meantime, any other questions for the interview you can ask. Otherwise, from me it's all. Thank you very much.